sometimes 2 is better than 1.
She's got a point, but when it comes to the DJI... Okay, single-handed gimbals are awesome. There's no doubt that I think every one of us that have gotten a chance to use them have really loved them for their convenience, their size, just how quick we can get up and going and get great gimbal shots. Now that being said, they do have a few drawbacks if you've grown up in the world of old-style two-handled gimbals. And that's basically, you don't have that second load, which really helps kind of alleviate the load on your body, especially with the way you tend to operate a gimbal as a gimbal is used. It also gives you just that little bit of control that sometimes I feel you're missing an old classic kind of samurai type system. Now that being said, DJI, when they did release the RS2, did include this great little arm that came basically with the package. And you could slip this there on the side and it allowed you to unlock briefcase mode on the RS2. And that really gave you the benefits of these small form factor gimbals, but it gave you that second hand connection, which is really important. Now the only drawback to that system was you had to take your tripod base off of the bottom of your gimbal and then use that as the handle for this little piece. And while it's good in theory, man, you're putting your gimbal down all day long, so having to remove that tripod base was kind of a pain. It's just one of those things, it's almost perfect, but man, wouldn't it be great if there was something that could help us be a little bit better at it. So I was really excited when DJI announced this, the DJI R twist grip dual handle for the RS2 and the RSC2. Now this is designed by DJI for the RS2. And here's what's great. This gives you the classic double grip handle that we all love from the old school two-handed gimbals. But here's the awesome thing. There's a little dial back here. You just twist it and boom. That fast, you are in briefcase mode. And I love briefcase mode. So, put it back down. I can switch back. All of a sudden, I'm back here in two-hand mode. And the best part about it is, I haven't lost the base to my gimbal. I can set it right down. It's good to go, ready to roll. Really love it. Now, this is a pretty simple system. There's really not much to it. It has NATO rails here. And if you look here, you basically just hook it right here on the NATO rail. I just hook it right on and I tighten it. And that is basically the amount of time it takes. To get it off, there is a button on this side of it. I just loosen it. I can push a button. It comes on and off that fast. I'll put it back on just to see it. Boom, it's there. So there you go. Really cool design from DJI. I was really excited when I first got this. I've gotten a chance now to take it on several shoots and play with it. And I can definitely tell you there are some pros and cons to the system I wanted to tell you about just in case you're considering this as an add-on for your RS2. Now, the first pro to this is it's a two-handed system. You get all that control that comes from having a two-handed system. This is really nice thing to have. It's just one of those things that I personally have missed for a long time. I've done a lot of off-brand things trying to figure it out. And I always think this is just a nice way to do it. It is super easy to switch from briefcase mode to two-handed mode. You just literally switch it, boom, you're there. You switch it back, and you're boom. I mean, that's literally seconds of time. So the speed when you're on a set, the convenience, honestly, is probably the #1 selling point that you're gonna have for this. Another thing that I think is what I would consider one of the main reasons why you should consider getting this is there are a lot of great mount options on it for your peripherals. You have 1/4" screws on here, you have 3/8, you have a cold shoe connector, and you have a NATO rail, all on this. It's on the side, it's on the top, and it's on the bottom. Really awesome. There's no shortage of putting things on your gimbal. And in my opinion, that's one of the drawbacks that I've always had with single-handed gimbals. I could just never put peripherals on there, and this kind of solves that problem. So in my opinion, that's a huge benefit to this system. It also comes ready to go and be paired up. DJI, if you want to have controls in the two-handed mount, DJI allows you to use this with a remote controller that basically mimics the back of your RS2 that you can put on here and do that. And really one last little pro that I would say that I would just have to include on this is that this breaks down so small, I can put it in my RS2 bag right in the space that it gave me for the original little handle there. And that's a small thing, but it was kind of nice. I don't have to go buy a new bag. I don't have to buy a new case for it. Everything fits in there. It breaks down really easy, super convenient. Now, having shot with it, there are some definite cons that you need to consider. And the first one, I'm just gonna get this right away and say, it's the actual material of the handles themselves. For some reason, and this baffles me because DJI usually makes such really meticulous products, this material feels slippery. I don't know, it feels almost like a wetsuit is about how I can describe it, but it's kind of unique. That being said, I have used it for a lot of cases. I haven't had a problem losing my grip on it in a shoot, nothing like that, but it just feels, I mean, the whole point of this is a handle, and the grip on this, it's just not really that impressive. So having shot now with it, I don't worry for my gear, I'll be honest, but it's just weird, and the whole point of this being a grip and having kind of a slick grip, I just think it's kind of a weird thing. Another con that I would say is, in the original handle that came with RS2, you could actually dial in your angle right here to get different things. But on this, you basically can slip it from the 1 to the 2, and that angle is basically what you get. That's really how it works the best. And, you know, it's not a problem for me, but I find that, you know, I've got pretty small hands. So you can see I've still got a lot of clearance here for it. But I don't know, if you're one of those people that has like really meaty, big hands, this may be an issue. You know, I kind of liked it actually a little bit lower like this. And you can see I can dial it in, but it's still got it's just not quite as secure. It's definitely designed to come all the way up here and pop down. So that's definitely something you need to consider, especially if you got big meaty hands. It may not be an issue, but I just thought that might go in there. Another thing that I would consider a con is the price. I mean, this thing is really, really expensive. It's $139 for this. And in some ways it's great because you get 2 arms of attachment. That's really helpful, but man, come on, that's really expensive for arms, especially because you could use the existing arm in there and maybe go buy a small rig handle for like 40, 50 bucks and get another arm and not have to lose your base. So that's just something for you to consider. Okay, now that I've told you the pros and cons, we all take stuff like this and make modifications to it. I'm gonna tell you the modifications that I've made to this that basically, in my opinion, maximize this handle. And the first thing I do is I do not use this little second handle. I pop this out, and for me, this equals the two-handed grip. I feel like I got a great double handle here. I got a nice tight. I can really bring my back straight. I got control to all the joysticks and stuff right here that I need. And I feel for me, that really maximizes it. Then what I do is I'll pull this off here just to show you. I actually use the NATO rail, and I have a small rig tilt monitor mount with a NATO clamp. 2100, I think is the actual name of it. And what's great about this, I'll pop this off, is I can put this on there. It's got a lock. I can use NATO rails. NATO rails are so awesome because they're so fast. I'm not having to screw stuff on. So what's great about that is I can literally just adjust my monitor. It's a phone like that. If I'm going really low, I can do that. It doesn't matter. I can adjust it exactly what I want. One of the drawbacks I would consider to the DJI mount that comes with this originally is just the fact that you can't control the tilt, which I would consider really, really important. But it's just not a lot of modifications, but this for me really opens it up. It lets me run and gun with it. I feel like I can really go with it really fast and really come out with it. So there you go. The handles are weird, but I am glad I have this. At the end of the day, the convenience of having this little switch here to the briefcase mode, especially because I use it so much, is so nice. For me, that makes it worth it. And having the NATO rail option like that is really, really handy to me, especially having on both sides, just knowing I have options to put other small things on there. I hope that was helpful. Yeah, hopefully this gave you a little insight into this dual handle system for DJI. Please subscribe. That also helps me out a lot. Definitely. Love to hear from you. Yeah, guys, go out there, keep on shooting, and I'll talk to you soon.